We created a video on components of Angular framework. And in this video, we will talk about a very important concept of Angular, that is two-way binding with an example. Hey everyone, I'm Kamran. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to the video series of Angular 3 tutorial. If you are new here, I would recommend you to hit the subscribe button and notification bell as well, so that you will always be updated to all new web development videos. And by the way, I upload videos every week, so be updated. Coming back to two-way binding, let's talk about what is this feature. So every component in Angular consists of two different parts. So one is the component TS part where all the logics are written, and other we have this template part or the HTML part where the display things are written. So whenever we define and declare a variable, we display that variable on the front end as well. So whenever there is a change in this variable value, on the component controller side or on the template side, the value is updated on the other side by default, and it is taken care by the Angular framework itself. Let me give you an example what I'm talking about. So let's say in our user module, we already have defined this components. For the category component, we have this HTML, which is our template. And also we have this controller where we can write all the logics. So if I define any variable over here and if I use that variable in my HTML, then whenever I'm going to update this value, then I don't have to do anything to update the HTML part. It will update it automatically. And in the similar way, if something is updated on the HTML part, it is automatically updated on the controller part. So in that manner, the controller and the templates are binded together, and this binding is two-way. So that's why this two-way bindings comes in picture. So let's try to demonstrate this with an example. So I have this paragraph over here which I have to display. So instead of directly displaying this paragraph, I'm going to take this into a variable and then going to display over here. So let's cut it out from here and save it. And here I'm going to define a string. So here first I have to define the data type. So that will be a string and its default value will be this. Now I have defined this variable and now I have to display this variable into HTML part. So to do that, I'm going to add a paragraph tag, and inside that I'm going to display this. But you can't just use a variable simply like that. You have to use it into double curly braces. So I will add that. So now this will just simply add this variable inside my HTML tag. Let's see how it looks on the browser. So here on the category component, you can simply see this paragraph is being displayed. Now what we can do, we can just simply update this variable in the controller and then we can see the output. So for that we have to add some action, right? So I'm going to add a div and then I'm going to add a simple button which will trigger a function, and that function will update this display sentence variable. So button will say change the variable. I'm going to add an event of click inside this. So add an event. So to add any event, you have to use a round brackets like this. As an output, you have to define a function name. So function name, we can keep it change variable, and that should be a function. Now this function I'm going to define in my TS file. So let's define that. So here I'm just gonna copy paste that, and inside this I'm going to update this value. Now in order to make any change in this variable or any variable, we have to use this. So I'm going to use this dot and it will show me list of all the functions and variable which I have initialized in our component. So I'm going to use this one and I'm going to say updated component. So now what will happen when I'm going to trigger this function, this display sentence will update. Now you have to keep in mind that when we are calling this function, we are updating this display sentence and we are not doing anything particular with this HTML. But then also the HTML part will be updated by itself. So and that is what the two-way binding is. So here once I click on this, you can see that the variable is being updated to this updated component. So sounding too difficult, but it is too easy to understand the concept of a two-way binding in Angular framework. I hope you understood this, and this will be very helpful and very useful throughout the project. So you just have to practice a lot, making lots of variables and updating that in your components. I hope you understood the concept of two-way binding through this video. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe to channel if you haven't already and hit the like button, and see you in the next amazing video of AngularJS tutorial. Happy coding everyone.